Singularity. Singularity is the most active VC in Israel. We're managing $150 million. We started the fund 5 years ago. Actually, I spotted some entrepreneurs in the crowd. There's one of them that we invested in. And a few years ago, another guy that sits in the crowd also, named Nimrod, sold me my first Bitcoin. That was in 2013. I gave him 100 shekels, which was equivalent to like 25 bucks. He gave me a Bitcoin and opened my eyes. I started to invest a little, not too much. Then I invested a bunch in the ICO, or not in the ICO, but soon after the ICO of Ethereum, so that was lucky as well. But again, not what all of us wanted to invest in that time. I didn't pay too much attention to that until the end of last year, when I started to understand better what Ethereum does. And as a VC, it was super fascinating to see that, because we run a different VC. As I said, we're very, very active. If a typical VC manages to do like 2-3 deals a year, we do like 10, 12 deals a year. And we managed to do a deal between $1 million to $10 million within 6 weeks, A to Z, which is not normal. But still, we used to get a lot because we're investing in stages, and we all know how hard is it to get money for entrepreneurs. Suddenly, we started to see money flying around in a way that we've never seen before, democratizing investments, and crowdfunding like Kickstarter didn't make sense. You know, to see one of the companies that we approached was, forgot the name, what's the name of the augmented reality company that Facebook bought? Oculus Rift, thank you. So we approached Oculus Rift, we did some due diligence, and then we started to negotiate with them, and then they went to Kickstarter, got $2 million, and told us, thank you, we don't need your money. And people got in exchange T-shirts and stickers. So this didn't make too much sense. But when we saw what Ethereum did, it was really disruptive. And I started to invest in more ICOs, more money. Actually, we did it personally because, I don't know if you know, but VCs are not allowed to invest in ICOs since it's not a legal asset. So it's not in the papers of the VCs. So we started a different company, invested some money in that, and started to invest, saw the light, made some nice returns. But we saw also a lot of big problems because we've seen that the accessibility to this space is very, very challenging. But what we did understand is that if what we analyze is right, then VCs are an endangered species. And we can maybe not be relevant anymore in few years. This escalated fast. I think that right now, I'm pretty sure, and again, I'm managing a VC and paying rent, if you can say that like that, from the management fees and from the carry. So saying that is not easy. I sat in the Silicon Valley with one of the biggest VCs, and I told him that I'm very passionate about what Ethereum does and about ICOs and the ability to democratize investments and stuff like that. And he was like shocked that we're promoting this aspect in Israel since it's like, you know, cutting the branch that you're sitting on. But I think we clearly understood that the cheese is moving and that, you know, I think that a bird is not afraid when the branch that it sits on gets cut because it believes in the power of her wings. And that's a very important thing. If you're a true entrepreneur and you really believe in this revolution, then the best thing is to understand and admit that the cheese is moving and move forward with it. We've seen a week ago, Forbes showed that exactly 10 years ago, the cover of the magazine was the CEO of Nokia. And the title was, "Can anyone stop the mobile giant?" And I think that this is what could happen to a lot of companies if they don't understand that things are changing. And I do believe that a lot of big companies will come from this space, maybe from this room. We took our 40 portfolio companies, we sat with all of the CEOs, or most of them, and explained to them what is going on, why we think they should consider to change routes, and we were able to convince some of them. The things that we cared about was how to build products that make the entire ecosystem slightly better for all of us and do good to our positions in Ether, Bitcoin, etc. And this is what I think is the second wave of blockchain, meaning if the first wave was 4 guys with white paper and few consultants, then I think that today, and I saw other guys before me talking about the same situation, more medium-sized companies are approaching this space. It's becoming interesting to more and more companies with a big team, revenues, trying to shift to this, and I think the early community or the first wave community should welcome them. Together we're stronger, but it's an important shipment, and I think that what we're experiencing right now, Kik maybe was the first big, medium-sized one that jumped into the space, and I think we're going to see more and more of those in the next coming 12 months. Then the next wave will come. One of our companies, and a company that I care a lot, is a company that I'm a co-founder called Sirin Labs. And Sirin Labs is what I call part of the second wave. We developed a highly secure smartphone that we launched 1.5 years ago. And in the beginning of the year, we decided to focus and shift the movement from not only security, but try to bring the blockchain world and the ability to share value. So one of the things that I was very excited about is the ability to store value and transfer value, just like you guys. But value is only money. Value is not only money. Value is also assets. And we have different kind of assets. So for example, in computers, we have a CPU, GPU in the phone. We have data packages, battery, energy. And what was interesting for us in Sirin was to look at this and understand that what if we can share resources? For example, let's say I'm from Israel. I just arrived here this morning. My roaming cost tons. There's a lot of local guys over here. What if I can connect to you without even asking you or feeling uncomfortable or something? Just connect to your phone using your data package, and instead of paying 4x to my cellular provider, just pay 2x to you and do like streaming of the token. So using some of the technologies will be on IOTA blockchain, and some of them will be with Ethereum. What if I need battery on my phone, and I have 10%, and you have 70%, and I want to connect to your phone and steal some of your battery and pay you with tokens? So we looked at that, and we decided to go to something that is resource sharing. But obviously, another thing that we experienced is the poor usability that this world has today. And if this world wants to eat mass market, we got to do something about it. So I think every top guy in the industry is talking about the accessibility. The complicated wallets, the multi-sigs, the complicated procedures to open one and to store one and to transfer one. So what we have, I'm going to show you now, first time. It's a bit far, but this is the phone that we're developing right now. It's called Finney, as an homage to Hal Finney. And what this phone does, aside of being an Android phone with, 1 second, too many things to hold. Yeah, so aside of being a very high-end phone, just like the new Galaxy with edge-to-edge screen and everything on top of that, you will find also a cold storage crypto wallet within the phone. So we have a switch over here that takes you to a new different zone inside the phone that is black boxed completely, so nothing can access it. And you will have, in the ability to access this zone, you will need to use face recognition biometrical finger and a password, and then you can access the phone, the wallet. Then obviously you can also use the phone as a normal phone, also, as I said, super secure, and share resources. So sharing resources, I talked about energy, and I talked about the ability to do data sharing, but also we have over here a computer that we're building as well, and this computer can also share the CPU and GPU, which we think is also interesting, not only for mining and stuff like that, but also as a more efficient way and a cheaper way to use computers. All of us today, we have computers. You're sitting right here. Your computers is at home or at office. You're not using the CPU, you're not using the GPU, but you paid for it. So what if a kid that wants to play Call of Duty and using 3D rendering and stuff like that can use your CPU right now as we speak, or your GPU, and pay you with tokens on that. So we're building something that obviously in the first stage, in order to bring value, will be more centralized, because we want to bring value at day one, so we need to have some server farms and stuff like that. But afterwards, when we have more and more users and more buyers, then we can truly make it decentralized and make the cost much cheaper. The last thing that I think is important about this is that it's all completely open sourced. So not only the software open source, but also the hardware. It's open sourced hardware. It means that all of the design, the technical design, the hardware design that we're doing, we're completely opening to manufacturers around the world to do them. I'm sure you don't know, but I can tell you I'm in this business. The technical design of a phone costs a lot of money, and that's what makes a big difference between high-end phones and low-cost phones. The low-cost phones simply go to Qualcomm, take the reference design, and just do the phone. When Apple, Samsung, and the rest do their own design, those designs can range anywhere between $10 million to sometimes even $200 million if you go into projects like Samsung or iPhone. We're going to release a high-end phone technical design, free for everyone to use. They can use their own materials and their own brand, but they need to use our token. That's the only thing that is in the license of the hardware. We announced today, a few hours ago, about our intention to do an ICO in this company. And I'm basically here for that. So I'm very excited about this second wave. I'm both investing and active in this space in making sure that this wave is a strong one and real one. And you know, we hear a lot of people say things like bubble, bubble, bubble. And we hear other people say, you know, internet was a bubble also, and look where it is today. So, you know, I think that it's very important to notice between a lot of projects that just jump on the opportunity to raise money, from projects that really tries to bring value, and I know a lot of them are here. I think this wave is the most important wave to make sure that SEC and other regulators don't jump into the picture and ruin this space and industry. And we'll try to be one of them. Thank you very much for listening. Have a good evening.